Hi, well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for attending this webinar and an introduction to the UK data service. My name is Anna, and I'm a member of the UK data service access team as a data access and use assistant. I am presenting today with my colleague.
Hello, my name is Dominico, and I'm also a member of the UKDS Access team as a data access and use assistant. Today we'll be presenting a quick introduction to the UK data service. We will be going over who we are, how we can help you, what data we hold, and what resources we have available. There will be two interactive sessions and two chances to ask questions. Here's an overview of the topics we will be covering throughout this webinar. We will be explaining a bit about who we are and what do we do, what secondary data is, what sort of data we hold, as well as talking you through the online resources that we have and a little bit of the guidance that we can provide to you. Um, there will be time for questions in the middle and at the end of this webinar. What is the UK Data Service? The UK Data Service is the principal repository of economic, population, and social research data in the UK. We are pioneers in data curations, actively managing long-term access to high-quality data for social sciences research. Our expertise continues to transform research, teaching, and learning in this field. Our training, policies, and protocols have been used by international research organizations and independent researchers ever since the UKDS was founded in the University of Essex in 1967. Moreover, our well-established data skills training provides the necessary skills and knowledge to inform research for those new to data use. The UK Data Service is funded by the UK Research and Innovation UKRI, and builds on investments from the ESRC to meet the data needs for professional researchers, students, and teachers from all sectors. We are experts on safe research, working closely with the Office for National Statistics, ONS, and the HMRC Data Lab to develop safe research protocols, such as the five saves framework, to enable secure research access to data while protecting confidentiality. Our collection includes major government-sponsored surveys, cross-national surveys, longitudinal studies, national census data, international aggregate data, and business and qualitative data. The data impact blog is run, which you can find in our website. It's run by us, and it's a hub for researchers, students, policymakers, government officials, and anyone interested in maximizing the impact of social, population, and economic data in academia and policy. We hope to encourage debate, share innovation and best practice, and keep the community up to date with the news and events regarding impactful social research data.
Here are some quick, rapid fire facts about the UK data service. Pay attention to these answers as we will have a short quiz about halfway through the presentation, seeing how much you remember. So the UK data service was established in 1967, beginning life as the Social Science Research Council data bank. The bank was based solo at the University of Essex. Then it became the UK Data Archive until in 2012 we joined forces with the Cathy Marsh Institute at the University of Manchester, the Department of Information Studies, and the Centre for Advanced Spatial Analysis at University College London, EDINA at the University of Edinburgh, and JISC. Us and our partners make up the UK data service. We have over 9,200 datasets in our collection, all fitting within the broad themes of economic, populations, and social research. The most downloaded data set is 6614, coming from the study Understanding Society, capturing life in the UK in the 21st century. Understanding Society is the largest longitudinal household panel study of its kind and provides vital evidence on life changes and stability.
And who is the data service for? We have many datasets in our catalog, as well as accompanying resources for each dataset. Anyone can browse and search our data catalog. However, the data you can access varies by user type. Most of regular users are affiliated with higher education or further education institutions and are staff, researchers, students. Um, However, anyone can register with us. We have users from government departments, the NHS, uh, commercial organizations, and even personal users, which are people who are not affiliated with an organization, who just want to further their research and skills on their own time. If you sign up for an account or request an account with us, we will support you to identify your user type and the data you can access or not. It is worth mentioning that our data is free to access for non-commercial projects, so free of charge. For commercial projects, however, there is a charge of use. A project is deemed as commercial when the end of the data does not bring public benefit and/or profiting is the primary reason for their access. For example, where the data would be used to create a subscription product. During the creation of your project, we will support you to identify what project type yours fit into. We're really keen for users to explore data, learn new things, and improve their data skills.
The data sets in our collection all have different access levels. This dictates who can access the data, the steps needed to access the data, and how they need to store and access the data if they are granted access to it. The access levels are as follows. Open access, anyone can download the datasets directly from the website. There isn't any registration needed. These datasets are fully anonymized. Safeguarded access, meaning that there is either an application or you need to make an account to access the data. And we have secure, which is the most stringent of our access levels. If you would like to access secure data, you will need to register for an account. You will need to complete an application form, and you will need to undergo strict technical checks. The safeguarded data that we hold can be further split into two categories, which is end user license, which means you will need an account with us in order to access and download the data, and special license, which means you will need to do an application, and like secure, you will need to detail how you will store and access the data, and the data owner will need to be happy with your application before we can grant you the access to the data. For all our data sets, if you've accessed it, you will need to tell us about any publications using our data.
So how can we help you? We know that some of you may have access to our service before, and some of you may have not. So we wanted to run through some of the services that we provide and the ways that we could be useful to you, whether that is for personal, academic, or professional research. We have a grand range of data on various topics. If you have a look in our catalog, you will find datasets covering the broad themes, sorry, of sociology, economic, population studies, health, among others. We hold data on the ONS, government agencies, and Understanding Society, to name a few data owners. Well, we have different access levels for our data. Any users can search in our catalog to see what's available. We catalog and curate this data, making it an invaluable resource for any discipline of social sciences mostly. In addition to these datasets, we also have a range of different tools which will help you better understand and use our data. For example, our ISEM tool allows you to filter the anonymized data by area, job, and other settings. We also have a range of other tools for the different types of data we hold. Moreover, we have data-specific training, events, and networking opportunities throughout the year. You're aware of this as you're attending one of our training events right now, but we have many more events for a vast array of users. You can find more information about this in our website. Uh, we support you through, we support you through your whole project. For secure and special license data users, we are on hand from the first time you send your application through using our data or applying for extensions too. We support you through the process and answer any questions you may have. For EUL data or open data, even though there are many less formalities that you need to follow, we will still help you through the process. If you're eligible to access secure data, we provide you from our own trusted research environment, Secure Lab, and we also support you through the application process.
Our home page of our website is designed to be easy to navigate and user-friendly. There's a menu across the top of the page to navigate your way around, depending on which topics you are interested in. There's a search bar to search the data catalogue. You can use the study number if you know it, the data owner, e.g. Understanding Society, to bring up a list of data sets or a topic such as poverty. As you scroll down the home page, there are links to the latest highlights, upcoming training and events, our impact, the Learning Hub, the latest data collections and new additions, and a link to our training webinars. There is a yellow login button in the top right-hand corner where you can log in and register. We will go over this later in the presentation. The Help tab is also very useful. Again, we will look at this section in more detail later in the presentation. Now, we're going to talk about how you register. As mentioned earlier, you will need to register to access some of the data sets within the UK data service. For those of you who haven't registered with us, this is how you can do so. If you have already registered with us, firstly, we thank you. And secondly, we hope that this information is as a helpful reminder of how the process works. As we've already explained, and we do apologise for the confusion and mix up with the slides, you will need to click on the yellow login button as shown here. If you are a student or a member of staff at a UK institution of higher or further education, you can most likely register using the username and password issued to you by your institution. Just begin typing your organisation name in the box as shown here, and it should be automatically generated. Click continue, and your own organization login page will then be displayed. You'll be able to log in with your usual username and password. All you need to do then is complete the registration form and agree to the end user license. If you are not a UK academic user, or your organization does not appear on the list, then you would need to check the box in the bottom left-hand corner that says my organization is not listed. You can then follow the link to request a username, enter the email address, and we will send you a one-time code. Enter the code in the box at the bottom of the page, and we will contact you with a username and details of how to complete your registration. We aim to get back to you within 5 working days.
Well, what is secondary data and why do we offer it? At the UKDS, we host a large collection of secondary data, which means it's data that has already been collected on a previous study by a different researcher. We will now share some information for you on secondary analysis. What is it? And we'll also present different types of data we hold at our service. Secondary data can be collected across a range of social sciences disciplines using a variety of research methods. Social surveys and interviewing projects represent some of the most common methods, but you can also collect data through admin records and business records, as well as censuses. The reason why secondary data is valuable to researchers is that primary collection can be time-consuming, expensive, and requires a certain level of expertise that needs to be carried properly. In contrast, secondary analysis or reanalysis of data that has been collected previously can be used by new researchers looking to answer a new research question. This data is often free and can be found and accessed through many resources. Using existing data can also enable research where the data may be difficult or impossible to collect, like in the case of global admin data, large-scale surveys, or historic data. Using secondary data is favored by researchers as there's a wide range of topics and formats available to work with. And if it comes from a reliable source, it can provide a representative, robust, and transparent output. Information on how the data was collected and sampled, so the metadata, are usually found in our platform in the documentation section of the dataset. In short, the UKDS facilitates access to secondary data and can also provide advice and support through the process application of it.
The data we hold comes from a wide range of sources, and we are allowed to disseminate them under license from the original data depositor. It is important to stress that we are not involved in the collection process for any of the data we hold. Data sets are deposited with us, and we curate, preserve, and catalogue them and make them available to researchers through the UK data service. Some of the most prominent sources for the data we hold are national statistical authorities, UK government departments, intergovernmental organisations, research institutions, including the Institute for Social and Economic Research and the Centre for Longitudinal Studies. And we also hold a number of data sets from individual researchers, and they may have undertaken research for their masters or their PhD, or they may have undertaken funded research. Researchers that are funded by the ESRC also deposit their data with us through ReShare, which is our online repository. Data deposited in this way is also available through our data catalog.
What kind of data is on our catalog? As we have mentioned before, we have over 9,800 datasets. On our website, the Find Data tab on our homepage has a section where you can browse and access data by clicking through. You will come to see the Browse by Theme page. And as you can see, we hold data on several topics like aging, COVID, crime, etc. You can browse by data type, which we will cover further over the next few slides. Hello. Well, again, we will be guiding you through the 4 types of datasets that you can find available through our service. These are survey microdata, international microdata, census data, and qualitative mixed methods data. The survey microdata includes major UK surveys, both cross-national and longitudinal. The international macrodata is very similar, as it includes survey data and datasets, but this time through multinational data banks. The census data are national data divided into aggregate datasets from 1971 to 2011 to microdata from 1991 to 2021. Flow data and boundary data too. And finally, there's qualitative and mixed methods section, which is self-explanatory as it contains multimedia qualitative resources such as interview extracts and general writings, and a general mix of quantitative and qualitative data resources.
Some of the most commonly used available microdata are the UK surveys. So the surveys are produced by experienced research organisations such as the Office of National Statistics and the National Centre for Social Research, who have had many years of experience in sampling, data collection and analysis. They have their own methodologies, researchers and teams of interviewers, so these are very high quality data sets. These surveys are mostly nationally representative at a UK level, or the countries within the UK, depending on the particular survey. They also tend to have a large sample size. For example, the labour force survey interviews 60,000 people every quarter. There are 2 main types of these surveys that we are looking at today. These are cross-sectional and longitudinal. The longitudinal surveys can be broken down into cohort and panel studies as well, which we will look at later on. Looking first at cross-sectional surveys, these collect data for a single point in time. A lot of the studies that are found in the UK data service catalogue are repeated cross-sectional surveys. Many of them are repeated annually or most years, but each time they are run, they use a new sample of people.
Well, for cross-sectional surveys, here are some examples of the most used ones. The crime survey for England and Wales, formerly known as the British Crime Survey, provides an important source of information about levels of crime, public attitudes about crime, and other related issues. The results play an important role in forming government policy. The survey measures the amount of crime in England and Wales by asking people about the crimes that they have experienced in the last years. This includes crimes which are not reported to the police, so it is an important option to police records. A second example is the British Social Attitude Survey. Since 1983, the British Social Attitude Survey has been tracking the views and opinions of the public on big issues facing the nation. Every year, the National Center for Social Research invites the British public to share their views on a range of topics such as work, equality, welfare, health, and even how the country is run. Households for this survey are randomly selected across England, Scotland, and Wales to take part of the survey. This way, this data captures a general picture of the attitudes in Britain.
We have covered cross-sectional surveys, and now we're moving on to longitudinal data. These studies collect data through longitudinal surveys. Similar to cross-sectional surveys, longitudinal data also have large samples and they are nationally representative. The one key difference, however, is that while cross-sectional surveys interview different individuals each year, longitudinal surveys follow the same individuals or households over time, and they ask the same questions. Like I mentioned before, there are two main types of longitudinal studies: panel and cohort studies. So panel studies, to start with, collect data at different waves, which are different measurement points. The panel members interviewed are people sampled across the whole population of interest to include respondents of all ages. Another kind of longitudinal study is the cohort study. Rather than waves, the measurement points for cohort studies are generally called sweeps. The most common event that these follow are people who were born in 1 week in a particular year and tracks them over time. Some will follow the cohort over their entire lifetime. These are called birth cohort studies.
An example of a panel study is Understanding Society, our most popular data set collected by us. Well, it's not by us, it's by ICER actually. Anyway, it is the largest longitudinal household panel study that we hold. It follows participants over a long period of time, giving us a long-term perspective on people's life. It helps explore how life in the UK is changing and what stays the same over many years. Using different generations as sample to study new family formations and our wider family and community links. Understanding Society is based at the Institute for Social Economic Research, ISER, at the University of Essex. And the sample size of their study is 40,000 households, which is around 100,000 individuals. Other popular cohort studies held by the UK, well, that was panel, but the cohort ones held by us are, first, for example, the 1958 National Child Development Study. This follows the lives of an initial 17,000 people born in England, Scotland, and Wales in a random week of 1958. It has collected information on their educational development, economic circumstance, employment, well-being, attitudes, family life, etc., etc. The second example is the 1970 British cohort study, which began when data was collected from the births and families of babies born in England and Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland in a particular week of 1970. Similar to the latter, this study provides perspective on the life-changing of this cohort. Lastly, the Millennium Cohort Study is the newest national birth cohort study, and it follows the life of some babies born in some selected months between 2000 and 2002 in just the UK.
There's another type of microdata that I would like to mention briefly, which is cross-national national surveys use the same survey instrument, and where possible, the same methodology and fieldwork protocols. They allow for comparison to be made across many countries and nations. Common topics covered include education, income, working conditions, and poverty.
Now, the next data type that we're looking at is international macro data. International macro data banks contain time series data, which encompass over 30 years of, or over more than 30 years of social economic change of many countries or regions. We update this data regularly, with some databases being updated as frequently as every month. Many of the data banks are the current releases of the major statistical publications produced by intergovernmental organizations. Most of these data are only available through the UKDS to staff and students from UK higher and further education institutions. This is due to access conditions that are agreed with data owners. However, data sources as the World Bank provide now databases for open access. Other topics covered by these data banks include national accounts, industrial production, employment, trade, demographic values, human development, among others, usually regarding national performance and development.
So how can you access this data? So you can download the data that you require from visiting the International Aggregate Data Bank on the UK Data Service webpage. It hosts hundreds of economic and social datasets provided by organisations such as the World Bank, OECD, or the International Monetary Fund. You can view the data by provider, and it enables you to extract the information you require from the large socio-economic international datasets available through the UK Data Service. There are a number of user guides and video tutorials to help you use it. There's also a video that can be found in the UK Data Service YouTube channel called Accessing, Exploring, and Visualizing International Data.
We're now going to move to our third data type, which is census data. The census has a long history going back to 1901 and takes place every year, every 10 years. The census data for 2021 was released on July 2022. The UK Data Service has made data tables and accompanying metadata available to download via our website. The first release of the data contains estimates of population by age, sex, for both regions and local authorities in England and Wales. Forthcoming releases from the ONS are expected to cover topics such as the UK Armed Forces veterans, housing, health, and unpaid care. The most notable feature of the 2021 census operations is that they have been designed from the outset to be digital first, with around 75% of the population expected to complete the questionnaire online. Additionally, the 2021 census is the first to include questions on sexual orientation and gender identity, and respondents answered on an entirely voluntary basis.
So the census the data aims to cover 100% of the population and is used as a baseline for other statistics. It contains detailed combinations of characteristics in a range of topics. The data is available in many geographies, and this makes it possible to reliably compare the different areas, which makes it so unique. Through the UK data service, you can get access to 4 kinds of census data, which are aggregate data, boundary data, flow data, and census microdata. So most of the data is now open access, although there may be some restrictions on some elements of the census data that we have in our catalogue. And obviously we've explained the access levels and all of that, but most of the census data is open access. Aggregate data provides counts, usually of individuals or households with particular characteristics for an area. These areas may be large or small. The benefit of having census data is that it allows you to be very flexible. So you may want to produce tables and graphs based on a very small population. For example, the number of people who are aged over 50 and are unemployed within each of the wards in the district of Greater Manchester. In this example, the 50 and unemployed are a combination of characteristics, and the geographical zones are the district of Greater Manchester. We also provide access to various boundary data from 1981 to 2001 for a range of geographies. The boundaries are available in a range of geographic information system formats and can be explored through the boundary data selector on our website. So this is currently available for the 1981, 1991, 2001, 2011, and 2021 census data, as well as other boundaries. You can start by selecting the country you are researching, and then the geography and the data sets you are interested in.
The next type of census data is what we call census flow data. These are data sets that relate to flows of people between places. Whereas most census data relate to counts of people at single locations, flow data describes the interaction between 2 locations, origin and destination. Most of flow data relates to migration, derived from place of residence on the census date compared with the usual residence in the previous year, and commuting flows, the difference between place of residence and place of work. Although data from 2011 census, the census 2011 also includes information of movement between main and second addresses. Currently, migration and community data from the 1981, 1991, 2001, 2011, and 2021 censuses are available through WISID, web-based interface for our census interaction data. The final type of data we're looking at is census microdata. We provide access to cross-sectional census microdata. These are anonymized individual level records sampled from a single census. They are large individual level files which resemble the sort of data that might be collected directly from the questionnaire. Because individual records contain a wide range of individual and household characteristics, the data enable multivariate analysis for a range of purposes. The UK Data Service holds contemporary data from 1981 to 2021 censuses and microdata samples from 1961 onwards.
If you are interested in using aggregate census data, then you can use CASWeb for 2001 and 2011. You can see the interface on the slide right here, and it's all done within your web browser via the UK Data Service website. CASWeb is designed to guide users in selecting census aggregate data relating to combinations of characteristics and areas of interest to them. You can just pick your topics from the options shown on the screen, and you can specify your parameters to produce outputs.
Well, as you can see from the slides, we have many resources to help you figure out how to use the data that we provide. There is a section of our website dedicated to this. We want to see the data used to its maximum potential, so to help with that, we offer these resources. The Learning Hub section from our website contains information, advice, and support to enhance your data skills. Also provides tools to teach with our data. For example, the new to using our data section may be useful for those who are using the data for the first time. It includes best practices and training for researchers who are new to accessing our resources from the collection. It also includes advice and tools to correctly cite the data. If you're going to be using quantitative or secondary data from us, do have a look into that. In the middle section of this slide, you can see that we also have data skills modules available. These are introductory level interactive modules that are designed for users who want to get grips with the key aspects of survey, longitudinal, and aggregate data. Modules can be completed in your own time, and you're able to dip in and out when needed. They give an introduction to key aspects of the data using short instructional videos, interactive quizzes, and activities using open access software where possible. Each module stands alone, but those with little experiences with surveys might find it useful to start with the survey data module before moving on to the longitudinal data module. We also offer guidance for using real research data to bring teaching and learning to life. You can use our extensive teaching data collections and resources to support you on your teaching and learning. They have been designed to allow students to analyze the data from our collection, containing key variables and topics of interest. We have worksheets and specific guidance for those teaching with this data.
When you are ready to explore our help pages, click on help on the right-hand side, just under the login button on our website. This is designed for both new and existing users. You will see on the screen that the pages are categorized under different sections. For new users, the pages which will be most helpful to you will be the registration, advice for new users, and how to get data and access information pages. However, we also have many other pages for whatever issue you are facing or question you may have. If you aren't able to find what you need on the help pages, you have the option to contact help desks. Once clicked, it will bring you to a list of options for our collections team, if you have already deposited or you are going to deposit data with us. The tech team, if you have any tech issues, for example, with Secure Lab, if you have access or if you have any issues with logging in, for example. And the last team you can contact is the access the team, which is the team that we're in, who handle most of the help desk queries for the service. We are always on hand to help you with any query you might have, whether that's via email, phone, or web form.
As we are near the end of this presentation, we're just going to take a quick look at some resources and further help. And we have compiled a small list of links for our user resources, such as the YouTube channel, where this webinar is being live streamed. There's also a link to our data catalog if you would like to have a browser through our repository. The help desk web form mentioned in the previous slide, where you can ask queries or ask help with resources, and also our catalog where you can browse our data.
You can also find more information from the codes shown here. And I will just give you a minute if you would like to scan the codes. So we hope that you've enjoyed the webinar, and we hope you've found it really helpful to kind of get an overview of who we are and what we do and how we can help you in the data that we have. In the coming days, you will receive an evaluation survey via email. We will use the feedback that you provide to help improve future presentations. So please, if you could take a couple of minutes to fill it out when you receive it, we would be really grateful. But we do hope that you enjoyed today. If you do have any other questions, obviously you can always do a help desk ticket, or you can call us, or you can email us, and we will do our best to help. Thank you for listening to the webinar. We have listed our methods of contacting our Twitter feed here for you, as well as our news section, which has the box at the bottom of the page where you can register to receive our newsletter. We have also linked the data impact blog that we spoke about at the start of the presentation. But once again, thank you very much, and we hope you have a lovely day.
Thank you.